For decades, Brazil was judged differently from the rest of the world.
Best footballing nation in the history of the sport is Thierry Henry. Oh, okay.
Sorry?
The best footballing nation in the history of the sport.
Samba, Brazil.
You'd have to go with the Brazilians.
Because winning was never enough for the Seleção, they had to entertain. They had to dominate. They had to play beautiful football. But under Carlo Ancelotti, the Samba boys have a new identity.
The manager is only judged if he wins or don't win. Doesn't matter if we play well football. If we win the World Cup, we played well. If we don't win the World Cup, we played really bad. I understand really well.
The one that involves winning however possible for Don Carlo. Even the legends can see it too.
Carlo Ancelotti, he knows exactly what he is doing. They didn't have the best start, but they're getting better and better. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Because it really isn't about how you start at the World Cup. Carlo Ancelotti understands that. It's about how they continue to progress. It's why beating Japan would have meant the world to Don Carlo. Because he's showing that this Brazil team knows how to bounce back from setbacks, knows how to dig deep, knows how to win the type of games that define tournament football. So they've gotten better with each game. And in turn, there are new narratives forming. There's the rise of the country's next superstar.
He wants to shine just like the other ones, and Brazil had a good game, and their main guy, Vinícius Júnior, showed up again.
But at the same time, a collection of the now generation, understanding they have to do it for a legend they grew up idolizing.
And seeing Neymar, making sure that he was back, how did that feel? Just, I think we can see what it meant to the fans.
That means so much for everyone, like, to be honest, a lot of the guys in the group, Neymar is one of the big idol. Our generation he started very young, and then everyone watched him like a kid, and to be with him now, everyone support him and try to still push him to give us a lot of things.
The record 5-time winners. But after not winning the competition since 2002, it's been a long wait for World Cup glory for Brazil. And with the competition now into the stage where the teams get fewer after each round, Brazil has just one aim now, to become champions again. And because of it, they are learning to become something more dangerous than anything they've ever been. Because if you haven't guessed it, here's the truth.
Building something right now. I said after match day one, I feel the same way. This is very much Carlo Ancelotti's like Real Madrid teams, where it's like about moments. It's not really like there's a flow and a rhythm to every movement, There's a moment.
Carlo Ancelotti has taken his Real Madrid blueprint from 2022 to 2024 and mapped out this Brazil team. It's about moments rather than the flair. It's why the World Cup has a Brazil problem. Because when it comes to individual moments of quality, it's hard to look past the options the Seleção have in that team. But then again, it gets confusing. Because for years, Brazil has always had quality. So maybe the problem isn't what Brazil has now become. Maybe the problem is what the fans have expected them to evolve into. It's the history of the sport with the Seleção. No country has won the World Cup more times than Brazil's 5. They've also been runners-up at football's global stage twice, finished in 3rd place twice, won the Copa America 9 times, 4-time former FIFA Confederations Cup winners. That's the rich footballing history of the nation. And when you look at the players they've produced over the years, it's staggering. Pelé, Ronaldo Nazario, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Romario, Kaká, Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Dida, Neymar. 4 players on the list have won the Ballon d'Or. Proof that when it comes to producing superstar names, Brazil is right up there with the very best, arguably the best. And yet, there's still a problem. Just before we get into what that is, we are grateful for the love and the feedback on the channel, and we could use more of that if you hit that subscribe button to the Football Armageddon down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. This is the extra motivation we need to keep posting. Thanks!
I think the problem now is that if they don't win it now, I don't know when we're going to see Brazil go on to win it, because now we got a routinely strong French side, routinely strong English side. Spain is back into the conversation. Argentina seems to be going absolutely nowhere. And we got dark horses like Switzerland, Norway, Colombia trying to make a run at the money for them. One of those teams have to win it eventually.
Ever since they last won the World Cup in 2002, there's been relentless pressure on the national team to follow up on that success. In 2006, they had the squad. the talent, the players. They were outclassed by a Zinedine Zidane masterclass in the quarterfinals with France. 2010 felt like a regression of sorts. They still had the likes of Kaká, Robinho and Lucio, but it wasn't the same superstar names as they had in years back. And they were knocked out at the same stage as they were in 2006, this time losing to the Dutch. By 2014, Neymar had arrived. The setting couldn't have been any better. Brazil was hosting the world. The Mundial was being played on their turf, and as for Neymar, he'd become the country's hope. A very important statement. He tried to carry the team. He was a star with 4 goals in the group stages. But after getting injured in the quarter-final win against Colombia, Brazil entered the semi-finals against Germany without their biggest superstar in Neymar, and without captain Thiago Silva as well. It became a day the country would never forget. They lost 7-1 to Germany, their biggest defeat in World Cup finals history. They'd eventually finished 4th, and this competition was showing the fans a lesson they needed to understand. It was still Neymar and Thiago Silva in 2018, the 2 headline acts. 2018 followed the same fate as 3 of the last 4 editions for Brazil, another quarter-final exit, this time to Belgium. It would then become 4 out of the last 5 for Brazil in 2022. As painful as the tears felt, it did seem like Brazil as a nation finally understood the message. They had won the World Cup with Joga Bonito in the past. Football had evolved. They didn't necessarily need Joga Bonito to become world champions again. When the federation finally got it, they'd now become prepared to do whatever it took to become champions again, even if it meant breaking national tradition. Appointing Carlo Ancelotti as the new head coach sparked mixed reactions, not just from Brazil, but across the world. On one hand, if there was any foreigner who felt like the closest thing Brazil could ever have to one of their own as a head coach, it was Don Carlo. All the superstar names mentioned in the past, he'd managed them. The likes of Ronaldinho, R9, Kaká, Cafu, Dida. Ancelotti had managed these guys. He had also managed some of the current generation of superstars in the national team, which we will get to, and so Ancelotti felt like one of their own. But there was also something in his appointment that didn't quite sit right. As close as he was still a foreigner, an Italian. For context, Brazil had only ever had 3 foreign managers in national team history: Ramon Platero from Uruguay, Joreca from Portugal, and Filippo Nunes from Argentina. The most recent was in 1965, meaning last time Brazil had a national coach that wasn't Brazilian was over 60 years ago. What's more, Ancelotti did not have history on his side. He was appointed to win the World Cup. No foreign manager has ever won the World Cup, but maybe that could change in 2026, because on the aspect of the man himself and what we've seen so far of the World Cup, Carlo Ancelotti isn't here to restore the Brazil of old. He's here to make this new generation win. Now this is where it gets interesting. It's how Carlo Ancelotti wins, particularly from his Real Madrid team in his most recent stint at the club from 2021 to 2025. When Madrid were winning games, they didn't necessarily win games by playing the most attractive football or dominating teams from start to finish. Instead, they knew how to pick their moments and to be decisive. And this is exactly what we are seeing at this World Cup. Against Morocco on match day 1, it was the same thing. Yes, Morocco dominated, particularly in the opening 20 minutes, where Brazil simply couldn't control midfield. And after they went behind, it felt like a disaster was in the works, until Vinícius Júnior stepped up and found the equalizer. That's how it finished. Despite Brazil having more negatives on the opening day, they did not lose. They took a point against a Moroccan team that in the last World Cup had beaten Spain, Portugal and Belgium. Then they won the games they were expected to win. They beat Haiti and then beat Scotland to top the group. 3 goals in each game, 2 clean sheets as well. Then they faced a Japan team that was also unbeaten in the competition. And even after going behind early, Brazil showed they could turn results around in the World Cup to their favour. Yes, there were concerns about the performances. Carlo Ancelotti didn't hide it. He was still fine-tuning his squad.
In the beginning, or his personnel wrong at the start of the game, because he had Vinícius Júnior playing almost as a sort of inside left, and he had Rafinha playing almost behind him. And the water break did them a lot of good because he changed the system. He then put Vinícius Júnior out on the left-hand side. He had Igor playing as the main centre forward, and he brought Rafinha over to the right-hand side, and he put Paquetá from right wing into central midfield. And suddenly they got a little bit of a grip of the game, and you saw with Vinícius Júnior, if he's out on the wide left, that's what he can do when he cuts in on his right foot. And he kept on using Rafinha as the player to change everything. So in the last 20 minutes, Rafinha went to centre forward. Cunha, who came on, we thought would play at centre forward, he went into midfield, and Rafinha is the main man. He's the one he changes positions to get them back involved in the game.
This is the positional analysis from match day 1. Many might interpret this as a man confused with the identity of his squad, but the reality is that it's Carlo Ancelotti's biggest strength.
Carlo Ancelotti. You played under him at PSG 10 or so years ago, and I say the word manager because that's important, isn't it, when it comes to Carlo Ancelotti and this Brazil team?
It is. I know him personally. He's a fantastic human being. I had him as a manager, not coach. Difference between coach and manager is the coach will tell the player how to move, where to go, and how to play. Instead, a manager will manage the player.
The ability to know how to manage instead of coach. And because of this, he's not afraid to make as many tactical tweaks in-game as needed until he finally finds what works. It's why he continued moving the positions of that front line on match day 1. In the second game against Haiti, he switched to a 4-4-2 system on paper with Cunha and Rafinha in central positions instead of using his recognized striker in Igor Thiago. That's what he looked like on paper. What effectively happened was Cunha dropping deep to allow Vinícius Júnior and Rafinha to attack wide spaces. It's a clear example with the second goal. Every time Brazil broke and attacked, they looked scary. Scored 3 when it could have easily been 5. Then came the Scotland test. This time, Rafinha wasn't available, so Ancelotti switched back to his 4-3-3 system, but he still retained Cunha and Vinícius Júnior in their positions. Ryan came into the team. It didn't take long to see what the other scary version of Ancelotti's system was. Brazil applied heavy pressure. A forced error with the press from Ryan, and Vini capitalized for the opener. Insane pressing again for the second. Casemiro gave everything to win the ball. Bruno Guimaraes picked out Vini for his second and Brazil's second. As for the third, you just had to appreciate Bruno Guimaraes again. The quality to pick out Cunha for the third was exquisite. In the context of the entire tournament, it's a midfield that looked non-existent in the opening game, which had now fully found its rhythm. Now you can really see what Carlo Ancelotti is starting to build. It's a Brazil team that has come into its own as the competition has continued. And as was mentioned earlier, it's a Brazil team that now has a new superstar down the left. This is the Vinícius Júnior era now.
And if Brazil are going to do well, he has to shine.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think what we saw today for spells, when Brazil were under a bit more pressure, they almost relied on him to be able to take the ball at the pitch. Instead of finding good bits of play, linking it up with 3, 4, 5 passes and all this, instead it's Vinícius running down the wing. Hopefully by that time people come to support him and then you can maybe have an isolation.
He's rightfully showing that he can become the superstar to lead Brazil, just like the names before him. I mean, listen to the names he's in elite company with.
Let's talk about Vinícius Júnior once again on the score sheet. Now LA scoring in all 3 group games. Can I tell you the names of who've done that in the Brazil side?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Jairzinho.
Okay.
Romario.
He's good.
Ronaldo.
Very good.
And Rivaldo.
Yeah, those are all very good players. And
those are names you would only have dreamed of as a kid. And yet, he's out in the United States making history for himself. He's Brazil's leading scorer at the World Cup with 4 as we're recording this. Should even be 6, barring the 2 goals he's had chalked off for offside in the competition. It shouldn't really come as a surprise. Both for Brazil and previously at Real Madrid, it was Don Carlo who unlocked the superstar versions of Vini. For context, Vini has 11 goal contributions in 14 games under Carlo Ancelotti for Brazil, 158 goal contributions in the 198 games he played under Carlo Ancelotti when Don Carlo was head coach at Real Madrid. A player Don Carlo knows very well. He knows how to get the best out of him. He's now showing that he knows how to get the best out of Matheus Cunha too. Since that second match against Haiti, Cunha has been surfing at the World Cup. Think of Cunha as Brazil's version of what Liverpool used to have in Roberto Firmino as a number 9. He drops deep and makes defenders worry about what his next move is, if he's going to run in behind or if he's going to turn with the ball and take them on. It's the same when he has to drop to start the press, because by doing this, it then allows the wide forwards in Vini, Rafinha or Ryan the opportunity to attack the spaces in central areas that he leaves. See, this is key in understanding how the Brazil attack works. Against Scotland, for example, 15 of Cunha's 38 touches were in his own half. These are not numbers you typically associate with a typical centre forward. It's because Cunha, just like the rest of this Brazil team, understands that the roles in the system are adaptable. The players themselves need to be adaptable. The added advantage with Cunha is that when he gets down to it, he knows how to be in the right positions to score goals. It's the same with the other members of the team. After the first game where midfield looked exposed, Carlo Ancelotti switched from a 4-2-3-1 setup to a 4-3-3. Now, Casemiro has more cover in midfield when one of the 8s, Bruno Guimaraes or Lucas Paquetá, leaves. One stays to help form the base while the other attacks. What this has led to is a system where Brazil now looks balanced. The same with defense. They've considered just 2 goals in 4 games at the World Cup. Yes, Haiti and Scotland were considerably easier tests, but even with that, it's still 2 clean sheets on the bounce before conceding against Japan. enough to give that team confidence to continue. But this team is not without drawbacks. The questions, the uncertainty, and the main one has to be on the role of the last of his generation. What does Neymar offer to this team? Some still believe he can be the X factor.
What I'm getting to is the fact that Vini Jr. changes his approach according to who's on the field. And in particular, if it is Neymar, there is reverence, there is respect, there is appreciation for Neymar, and he's saying, you do you. If you need my help, I'll be out here.
But for the others, there's no real sporting reason why he should be in the team.
And you looked at, and also you looked at when Neymar came on, there was a lot of excitement
Yes.
in the crowd, and I'm sure back in Brazil about this iconic player being in the squad and eventually coming on. But boy, I think if you're João Pedro or one or two others that didn't make the squad and you're looking at that guy saying this is just a sentimental pick, because yeah, I know he's not had much game time, but he just looked so sluggish and off the pace and as if it passed him by.
Either way, there is no doubt that it is going to be Neymar's last World Cup for Brazil. It almost looks nailed on now. From 2014 to 2022, he's tried on 3 separate occasions to become like the legends of old. Now, his new role is to lead the new generation to help him become a world champion. Then there's also the situation with Endrick. You've probably seen the memes. Carlo Ancelotti has given Endrick little game time in the competition, where many believed he would have more minutes. Ancelotti isn't worried. For Don Carlo, it's about winning the now and then planning for the future later. That now is against the winner of Ivory Coast vs Norway in the round of 16. Then whoever they face in the quarterfinals if they win that. Then the semi-finals if they win that. And then the final. The mission is simple for Don Carlo. On the 19th of July, the gold on the neck of the winners must match the gold on the shirt of Brazil. This new generation doesn't look like the Brazil the world grew up watching. It's Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil. Something the world has never seen before. And this is what makes them a scary proposition. On the part of Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal, he's faced with a different problem. On one hand, he has shown that he can score goals at the World Cup. On the other hand, he's still looking like a possible limitation to this Portuguese team. Click the next video to find out why the World Cup has a serious Cristiano Ronaldo problem.